30 plus tips on coping with grief and loss when you are yourself grieving. Plus 10 myths on grief and grieving which are considered truth. For real value addition to this topic, please focus only on the content. Kindly ignore my lacunas in pronunciation, tone, expression, accent, grammar, my looks and even this video's background. If you need help on any specific topic or need coaching, mentoring, counseling to overcome the issues, the challenges, the problems you're facing in your personal, professional, business part of life along with the relationship issues, kindly email me on the IDs given in either of my two websites. Please like the videos which adds value to you. Kindly subscribe and share this message about coaching session and the videos with the near and dear ones. Now, coming back to our topic. Corona's second wave has made grief unnaturally, fearfully, chillingly, paralyzingly real for many people in India. Losing a loved one does not just disrupt a person's life. Many times it changes it forever, unimaginably. Grief can create most drastic and long-lasting changes in people. It can completely transform a person's personality in most unimaginable ways. Because of grief, a person with energetic, positive disposition can become irritating and highly toxic, whereas people who were go-getters just give up on their life and their hopes. For some people, their grief lasts lifetime, although it should not. Some people live with their grief without making their loved ones or anyone close suffer. There are also people who had traumatic past and were hurt badly emotionally. Yet, they make life hell for people closest to them because they are still holding and nurturing the pain and the hurt long after the cause has been removed. Grief is our natural subconscious response to loss. Grief is no single emotion, but many roller coaster set of emotional feelings that you feel when something or someone is taken away. You love and attached and dependent on. Many times, this pain of loss can feel overwhelming. The more powerful your attachment with the person or the loss, the more intense your grief will be. Coping with the loss of someone or something you love can be one of the life's biggest challenge. Grief's negative effects becomes catastrophic and increases exponentially in magnitude if the loss is of a person who was the sole earning member. As per the strange law of nature, this losing the breadwinner happens more often than not. At least I've seen this case in every calamity for hundreds of thousands of people in India. Now, there are 5 situations and occurrences where the intensity and pain of the grief would be of levels almost equal to the impact of losing a loved one through death. First, relationship breakup or divorce. When you happen to be attached too much with your partner, so much so that you have made this your happiness and satisfaction dependent on him or her. Sudden diagnosis of a terminal illness of yours or someone you love and are attached with too much. Losing a job suddenly when you are least prepared and there are people depending on you financially and otherwise. Experiencing physical abuse like molestations, assaults, and violence. Sudden financial ruination due to, say, long hospitalization or losing your nest, like I lost my life savings through Franklin Templeton just because they arbitrarily choose to close 6 debt scheme. My advisor fraudulently put in this scheme is in spite of my explicit instructions to the contrary. Now, 30 plus tips on coping with grief and loss when you are yourself grieving. First, let's understand 18 stages of grief cycle that people go through. Some of these run concurrently, but please also understand that the following is never a neat sequence and will have to happen in this order for everyone every time. There are some people who overcome their grief without many of the stages mentioned here. First, shock, disbelief, denial, worries, panic attacks, and fears, feelings of helplessness, hopelessness, and insecurities, feelings of absolute loneliness and being left alone, anger, lashing out, bargaining with God or a higher power that you will do everything they ask if they will only grant you relief from these feelings, intense pain, regrets, especially if you wanted to say something or do something which you could not, guilt, especially if you have some unmet need with that person, depression, causing you to isolate and become a recluse, in some case falling into the abyss of psychologically untreatable state. After these very painful experiences, your body's defense mechanism will start the repair process through creating and getting back into a new routine and healthy positive rituals, putting the pieces of your life back together and starting to take responsibilities, acceptance, hope for the possibilities of your future, proactive actions to rebuild and move towards a new future and new life and moving on. Remembering the loved departed ones with fond memories, if you had this type of experience associated with this person, please understand that there is no right or wrong way to grieve, but there are healthy ways to deal with the grieving process. Now, let us understand 10 myths on grief and grieving which are considered true. First, in order to move on with your life, you need to forget about your loss. If you don't shed tears or frequently feel sad, you need treatment as you are not processing your grief in the correct way. Women grieve more than men because they are more emotional. The fact is, whoever is more attached will grieve more. Forgiving and forgetting is the same thing. You can't move on unless you're able to forget your grief and loss completely. If you're unable to feel grief, you don't love him or her. Feeling grief is an essential part of grieving, as not feeling grief makes you abnormally inhuman. Grief is not an emotion, but it is the complete experience our subconscious goes through when we face a devastating or significant emotional event. And this will include all 18 plus emotions as mentioned in the grief cycle above. Even if you move on, the feelings of your earlier attachment would still be there powerfully. Your grief has to be very intense and lasting for long. You can ignore the grief and you would be alright. Actually running away from feeling negative feelings fills you with fear of negative emotions, which would be catastrophic later for you and because of you for your loved ones. Third, symptoms of grief may include fatigue, dizziness, intense aches and pains, insomnia or oversleeping, and drastic changes in your eating patterns. Turn to friends and family members. Now's the time to lean on the people who care about you, even if you take pride in being strong and self-sufficient. Accept that many people feel awkward when trying to comfort someone who is grieving. Grief can be a confusing, sometimes frightening emotion for many people, especially if they have not experienced a similar loss themselves. They may feel unsure about how to comfort you and end up saying or doing the wrong things. But don't use that as an excuse to retreat into yourself and avoid social contact. If a friend or loved one reaches out to you, it is because they care. Draw comfort from your faith if you are a believer. Only if you feel like involving yourself in activities that are meaningful to you, such as praying, meditating, or going to church, temple, or any place of worship that you believe in. Express your feelings in a tangible or creative ways, if it is possible for you at that time. Write about your loss in a journal. If you have lost a loved one, write letters saying the things you never got to say. Identify all those events that can trigger your grief and might put you in relapse mode of grief. And if possible, plan ahead for all those anniversaries, holidays, and milestones that can reawaken memories and feelings. Anticipate emotional turbulence and anticipate it with the understanding and acceptance that it is completely normal. Look after your physical health in whatever way you can. When you feel healthy physically, you will be able to cope emotionally better. Combat stress and fatigue by getting enough sleep, eating right, and exercising. Don't use alcohol or drugs to numb the pain of grief to lift your mood, because these will take you into deeper gloom and despondency. In emotionally healthy people, with passage of time, difficult emotions become less intense and sadness becomes less painful gradually. But if your grief remains same and does not get better, this could be an indication that your grief might have developed into a more serious problem. The sadness of losing someone you love never goes away completely. But say even after 10 months, if you are still in a stage where smallest triggers sets you into crying and very painful emotional states, and it is keeping you from starting to do what is essential, could have mutated into complicated grief. Or if your loved one death was because of sudden, violent, or shockingly disturbing, it can turn into PTSD, post-traumatic stress. Now, there are 8 symptoms of complicated grief. Intense longing and yearning for your deceased loved one. Intrusive thoughts of, or images of your loved one. Denial of death or sense of disbelief. Imagining that your loved one is alive. Searching for your deceased loved one in familiar places. Avoiding things that remind you of your loved ones. Extreme anger or bitterness over a loss. Feeling that life is empty or meaningless. 6 signs if you or your caregiver needs to reach out for professional help for you. Feel like life is not worth living. Wish you had died with the loved ones. Blame yourself for the loss or for failing to prevent it. Feel numb and disconnected from others for more than few weeks. Are having difficulty trusting others since your loss. Are unable to perform your normal daily activities. Now, 18. Don't put time limits on your grief. Resist comparing your grief to how other people cope with theirs. Know and grieve intentionally. Face, accept, feel all your disturbing, upsetting, turbulent, scary, difficult emotions and their resulting pains by becoming aware of the intensity of the pain. Because when you approach your grief willingly, it signals to your mind that what you're experiencing is painful, but not bad or dangerous. Understand that just because you're grieving does not mean you have to talk about your grief all the time. Don't be under self-created pressure to be in the grieving mode all the time. If you feel like doing something, just go ahead. Accept that many of your memories with your loved one is of happiness. Accept that it's okay to feel happy and even joyful at times during the grieving process. Allow yourself to feel angry and disappointed for the one you have lost. This also all right. Feeling anxious, scared, afraid about the future also is one of the emotions you're likely to feel. Acknowledge all what you feel. It is okay to feel anything when you're grieving. Avoid skipping meals. If you don't feel hungry, choose nutritious snacks and small meals of mood-boosting foods. Share memories with others. Do something in their memory. Forgive them. Allow your loved ones to comfort you. Understand that grieving is like breathing. You need to go through it to be alive and heal, and that good mental health improves the overall quality of life. Seek help through the helpline numbers, which you will get in the link given in our website.